Howdy, friends and neighbors. Welcome back to R-TAC and Daughters. Rick here. And we're going to do another rant. Internet Free America rant. And you're going to say, why does that Internet Free America sound familiar? Well, you know, back in the day we used to broadcast Radio Free America into communist countries, like from Italy to Albania, for instance, South Korea to North Korea. Anyway, so that's my new rant series is going to be called Internet Free America. And I'm holding the old venerable AR-10 or AR-15 410 shotgun. We're going to talk about the ARs here in a minute. I'm going to talk about the Second Amendment, gun channels that don't really understand this, and the main topic of this rant is going to be Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse, the 17-year-old boy who was forced to defend himself from a pedophile, a domestic abuser, and a burglar. All three of those guys that he shot, two of them died, which is a shame that they had to die, except for pedophile. It's tragic that anybody loses his life. The young man was forced to have to defend himself by shooting those individuals. And it's a shame that our country's come to that. But let's talk about gun channels and their lack of understanding about the 2A. And you hear a little noise. We got the fan going. It's a little warm in the man cave today, so try to cool things off. First off, Mr. Rittenhouse is 17 years old, and he is a minor by far. But yet, Illinois decided to charge him as an adult. Okay. Fair enough. Awesome. So, back to Mr. Rittenhouse here. I had to stop for a minute. Anyway, the questions have come up about why was he across state lines. First of all, he lived 20-30 minutes away from Kenosha, from where he lives in Illinois. I live 30 minutes from Chattanooga. I live 31 minutes from Georgia border. So what makes the damn difference on that? Okay. First of all, he did not take the AR-15, which was not his, across state lines, which there's no crime if he did. He was there working, cleaning graffiti up. He also had medic. We saw his interview about helping people, whether they were pro-right or pro-left. He was willing to help people. His mother supposedly was there with an AR-15. He was there supposedly defending that car lot. Now, I've also seen reports that it was his uncle's car lot. So I don't know if that's true or not. Of course, we're not going to get all the information at once pertinent, because that's not how the media does things. And it might be detrimental to his defense as well. So we'll find out once he's free. Okay. Let's talk about hunting. Now, most states here, and I know each state is different, but in Wisconsin where he was, if you're 16 to 17, you can have a rifle to hunt. Okay. Open carry there is 18 and above. Okay, understand that. He's 17, so there's some legality questions there. I like to call bullshit on that. There's no legality there. He was there defending that car lot. That's why somebody handed him that rifle. Maybe it's a car lot owner, maybe not. I'm in the security field as a trade. I know a little bit about what you can and can't do security-wise. If he was hired, then the opens up a whole different new questions about legality and liability and things like that. So here's the questions that have been asked. Why was he across state lines? Why was he carrying the AR-15 and he was under 18? And here's my answers to this. One, we live in a free country. He can cross state lines, so sit on it and spin. Next, the Second Amendment has no age whatsoever in it. It says the right to bear arms. It does not say you got to be 18, you got to be 21. So to gun channels who said, well, kids need to stay in their kids' places. Sit and spin. Oh, you got to be 18 and older to hold a gun. Sit and spin. Now, I'm not saying the bad language. God knows I want to, and I've had to wait 4 hours to do this to calm down 4 or 5 times because I'm very passionate about the Second Amendment. If you go to prison and you're a convicted felon and you come out and you do your time and you don't commit no more crimes, your rights should be given back to you. Yes, that's kind of radical, but if you commit a gun crime as a convicted felon, then...
Just if you're wondering what that is behind the 410, it's Brady cleaning his head.
Yeah, and Brady back there. Anyway, if you do your time and you come out and you're reformed and you're not getting back in trouble, your rights should be given back to you. Period. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say that you can't give it. You can't be pro Second Amendment and for the Second Amendment or for the Bill of Rights and say, well, there's limitations. That's just like hate speech. That's like people get on here all the time and say, you're fat and you need to lose weight. You know what I do? I don't respond to them to justify them that. I know I'm fat and need to lose weight. Thank you very damn much for telling me that, Mr. Obvious. But the point is, though, is that I just delete their comments and block them because I have that right to do that. They have the right to run that mouth. I have the right not to listen to run that mouth. So like hate speech. As if you hate somebody, a person of color, or somebody because of their sexual orientation, or even because they think they're binary and there's 52 damn genders when we all know there's only 2. Who cares? If they want to walk around and think that they're a damn Coast Guard cutter or a unicorn, fox hybrid, hey, that's your right. This is America. It's a free country. You don't have the right to make me have to agree with you. That's the point. That's the same point with hate speech. What exactly is hate speech? There's no defining matter, no defining line there. The Second Amendment is defined. It has the right of the citizens to bear arms. All gun laws are infringements. We all know this. We all say this. Stop voting for Democrats. Start holding Republicans accountable for not voting pro-gun stuff in the legislation. If they don't vote the way we do, there's 70 million of us. That's more than each party voted last time. 5 million more. If we all can be united in this gun rights deal as a voting bloc, we'll control the government by voting. Very simple. Get on board, people. You're pro 2A. You can't have no butts in it. The young man had a right to have a rifle. It's in the Constitution. He had the right to be there. It's in the Constitution. Free movement between state lines. Next, he was there trying to help the community because the useless Democratic governor that the stupid people in Wisconsin voted for, the governor of Wisconsin, I had to stop there because I got a little too excited. Anyway, the governor of Wisconsin decided not to help his own people. The local police department was either overwhelmed or unwilling to help. The mayor seems to want help now after people get killed. And we also know that the idiots out there in Portland are continue to riot. And a lot of them came from Portland to Wisconsin. So when you want to talk about crossing state lines there, gun channels that don't believe in a 2A or why this kid was there, let's talk about why some of these people were. Why was those people from Oregon over there protesting? Has nothing to do with their community. Has nothing to do with anything that a convicted felon got shot by police, and rightfully so. Don't take a gun or knife to a gunfight. Don't resist the cops. It's smarter if you let the cops arrest you because everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody's got a camera. There's body cams now. So with that being said, if the police mishandle you, abuse you, have bad conduct, there's going to be a recording of it, and you can cash out. I think I've said this before. Let's get back on this, on Mr. Kyle. Mr. Kyle was faced to have to do something very bad. Now, those of us that hunt know that when we go to kill a deer a squirrel, a rabbit, a quail, an antelope, zombies. We're doing it for food, except for the zombie. Do you feel bad about killing one of God's creatures? In the back of your mind, yeah, kind of. Because you're eating it, so that's okay. That's how we justify it. You can justify anything you want to. But what Mr. Rittenhouse is going to have to do now, he's going to have to live with shooting 3 people and killing 2 of those in his mind. He was not a violent person there. He was there to be used as a tool to help clean his community, help protect a community. Not even his own community. But so we talk about those people from Oregon coming over there. They came over there to riot, is what they came over there to do. Because that's all they've done. There's no such thing as peaceful protest, mostly peaceful protest, CNN, NBC, all you left-wing media do, when the building back of you is burning the damn hell down. That's not a peaceful protest. So sit on it and spin. Now, next. So when people say, well, why he was there? He had a right to be there. Why were the people from Oregon to be there? As much as I dislike and disagree with those rioters, now if they showed up to protest peacefully, they had the right to do that, and I support that. What they don't have the right to do is burn, loot, and pillage and hurt people. You've crossed the line. The Insurrection Act needs to be instituted. Trump won't do it till after the election, because then the Democrats will say, well, he's heavy-handed. And then he still might not do it after the election, because if the Republicans don't control the House and the Senate, then he's going to get impeached again by the House, because, you know, that's what the Democrats do, because they don't do anything else. Just like stimulus checks. They should have been, those some bitches should have already been out to people that are hurt. Unemployment extended. Should be out. Even if it was less than what the Democrats want, they could always use that in their election. Think ahead, people. But they don't, because both of those parties are like this. They use us to gain power. That's why we need a third party. Let's get back to the subject at hand before I get right on and off again. Mr. Rittenhouse, he had the right to be there. He had the right to have an AR-15 given to him to help protect, because the local government did not, the state government did not do it. Just like those people had the right to travel across state lines and protest, but not to riot, loot, and pillage, and kill people, or assault people. Let's remember that. Okay, so 1, he's a child. No, he's not. He's 17. He's a teenager. When people say, well, he shouldn't have had a dog, he shouldn't have had a gun, and he should have stayed at home. Well, then that goes against other things. Like, that says, I shouldn't take Victoria out to the gun range. I shouldn't let her have a gun. Let's get back to hunting. A lot of states have hunting rules. Here in Tennessee, for instance, 16, anywhere, any teenager can have a rifle and or a handgun for hunting purposes. Must be supervised by an adult. Must be for hunting purposes. It doesn't say only for hunting. It doesn't say for anything. So like when I take Victoria out to the gun range, I'm there with her supervisor because we're having a handgun. Or if we're out somewhere else, she has a shotgun or a rifle, I can walk away because I believe in her and I trust her that she'll be able to handle that. So, that's what this young man was. He was separated from the group, being chased. So he shot the pedophile in the head. Good job. Anybody that has children and disagree that pedophiles should be put down, and when we talk about pedophiles, we're talking about people who...
There's Brady, by the way.
And of course, Brady is one lovey-dovey again, because we're outside, inside the house, not in the main house. So anyway. So should Mr. Rittenhouse have been there? He had the right to be there. Should he have a firearm? Yes, he had to. At the most, he's going to catch a Class A misdemeanor and charges be dropped. So let's talk about the people that he shot, and should have been there. Well, the next question is, hell no, they shouldn't have been there. The pedophile, not allowed to be around kids to begin with. Why was he there? Alright, so let's talk about the second person that he shot. The guy that assaulted him with a skateboard and had domestic abuse charges.
Also,
why was he there? And then the last person was a burglar and a convicted felon Not only did he try to take the gun from him, which he's not allowed to have,
He had a Glock.
He also had a Glock 19 in possession. That's why he got shot. His bicep got shot halfway off. Mr. Kyle missed one. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, though. He should have put him down as well. So let's talk about this. Gun channels that disagree with Mr. Rittenhouse being there. And I had to unsubscribe from them because you crossed the line when you say he wasn't allowed to be there, he shouldn't have had a gun and all this and that. You know, in my mind, if you're 16-year-old, you're legally allowed to drive. Cars kill more people in this country than guns do every year. Teenagers, Texan kills more people than guns do every year in this country. Those are facts. So when you say something like that, and the car is more dangerous, or you have 16-year-olds working on construction sites, and even driving tractors, heavy farm equipment, your argument's invalid. Your argument's also invalid that he shouldn't have been there and that he wasn't old enough when you say, well, I take my child out shooting, but I'm there. No, that's the same difference. The child's not 18. So stop being a hypocrite. Stop trying to walk that fine line. Either you're pro-2A or you're not. Mr. Rittenhouse is going to have a hard life now because he's going to have to live knowing that he killed 2 people. We have soldiers that have a hard time dealing with that when they come back from war. We have soldiers who just seen someone being killed have a hard time dealing with that. This young man is going to require some type of therapy. He's sitting in jail. He's 17. He wanted to be a police officer. He was an explorer. He was put in a situation, people say, well, he was put in a situation that he shouldn't have been in. Yes. Let's talk about the other adults around him, the rioters. The bad people that these riots and these commies bring into our communities. I don't know where these people were from. I didn't look that far. But let's think about this, gun channels. Either you're pro-2A or you're not. There's no buts, there's no in-betweens. Everybody in this country is allowed to have a gun. The problem is that people lack training. That's because they're not being taught. And that's why I did my gun channel with my daughters. Even though only one of them really participates a lot. The older one has been trained a long time ago. And she has children of her own to take care of. So Victoria's learning these lessons. She's learning about politics as well. She'll have her own mind, but she'll be pro-2A, no doubt about that. She enjoys shooting guns. The cats enjoy being down here, so they're pro-2A.
Low-key.
Except when they fire. My point is, though, is that if you're going to talk about this and be a gun channel, don't be a hypocrite. Very few things that I agree with the Yankee Marshal on, and this is one of them. You're pro-2A or you're not. There's no buts. There's no if in between them. If you're a dangerous felon and you did a gun crime and you was released, then that means you're no longer dangerous and you've done your time and you should have your rights back. Now, how much safety and security are you willing to trade for your freedoms? Yes, it's a double-edged sword, but you can't be a hypocrite about it. So if you're pro-2A, Mr. Kyle had the right to have an AR-15. He had the right to defend that man's car lot. He had the right to render aid to the people that he shot, which he tried to do. He had the right to clean up the graffiti because some of the community members outside the community did it, but some of the community members wouldn't want to clean it up. He had the right to be there. He's an American citizen. The Bill of Rights apply to us all equally, or they do not apply at all. Free speech is the same way. Here I am complaining about free speech on a platform that needs to have their section 32 or 732, whatever it is, revoked. They're acting as a publisher. If you're going to be a publisher, then say it, so be it. If you're going to be free speech, then you need to be free speech. All U.S. companies must, in my mind, must apply the Bill of Rights to their employees equally or not at all. My God, we have people in California at this point in time now trying to repeal civil rights legislation so they can legally discriminate against people. The Klan member, what left of the Klan and the alt-right and the Proud Boys and all that crap are a very small minority in this country. They're less than a percentile in this country left. Racism is on life support because of the media. People were better than this, were smarter than this, and the media and the Democrats of the left wing have not figured this out yet. That's why they lost the 2016 election. That's why they're going to lose again in 2020. We need to go out and vote. We need to hold the Republicans responsible and get the Democrats out. Politicians need to understand they work for us. Yes, Joe Biden, 47 years in government and you ain't done a damn thing to help anybody. Your gun-free zones. Yeah, killing zones. Your support of the crime bills from the Clintons, putting hundreds of thousands of black men, ripping them out of their homes and putting them in jail for unequal crimes. Think about this, folks. Remember, I've used some bad gestures in this video. I've used some bad words, which you didn't see. I'm passionate about this. And we also had that Trump supporter that was shot in Oregon, in Portland, of all places, by a guy who shouldn't have had a gun and who was arrested beforehand. Should that man have owned a gun? Of course so. He had the right to do so. But he was already picked up at a protest once before. Why was he let out? Because the Democratic DAs are not prosecuting this. So now we're going to have, and then now we got all the fear mongering from all the other gun channels, which I didn't want to agree with Yankee on that before, but now I am. All they want, Joe Biden is going to come after guns. No shit. We all know that Democrats are going to come after the guns, period. They don't want us to have them. You know why? Because it's easier to rule people who are subservient instead of ruling people with their will. They don't like guns. Once they go after the guns, what do you think they're going to come after next? Free speech. Look at the United Kingdom. Everything I have said in this would either have been blocked, removed, or I'd have been in jail in the United Kingdom because they don't have free speech there. That's right, Victoria, they don't. They don't have a constitution. Their overlords is a tiny baby and an old lady. Yes, we're descendants from English settlers. We're descendants from German, Italian,
Irish,
Scottish people as well. That's why we all came to America. For what? Freedom. Anyway, please look over my passion and listen to the facts that I stated. Also, remember that we got to hold our politicians accountable. If you're a new gun owner, welcome to the channel. If you're a new gun owner and find that it was a bullcrap on how you had to purchase your weapon, you're absolutely right. If you live in a Democratic-controlled state, a Democratic-controlled city, and if you move out of said city and state, don't vote Democrat in your new communities. We will welcome everybody, even if you think you're a transgender mutant clown from Mars and you want to identify as a unicorn. We'll still welcome you. Just don't expect me to acknowledge all that crap. I'll treat you like a human being and treat you fairly. All of us people who are center or conservative will do such things. We really are tolerant of other people's ideas and willing to discuss things and willing to say I agree to disagree and still be friends. Remember, folks, it costs nothing absolutely nothing to be kind to one another. And in this day and age, Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse needs some kindness. And we'll catch you next time.